You beat around the bush like you're scared to lick pussy, so you eat around the tush.
Don't beat around the bush, Doc.
Listen, I don't want to beat around the bush.
Don't beat around the bush.
You don't beat around the bush.
I'm not the kind of person who likes to beat around the bush.
Look, Miss Antoine, if you don't really like the record, you ain't got to beat around the bush with me.
Rick, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here.
Maybe you should beat around the bush more.
You don't beat around the bush.
God, I've got to learn not to beat around the bush.
Listen, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here.
Well, don't beat around the bush, Rusty.
Let me beat around the bush for a second.
Don't beat around the bush.
I'm gonna take your advice and not beat around the bush.
Ray, I ain't gonna beat around the bush with you.
Come on, Bruno, don't beat around the bush.
I thought you weren't gonna beat around the bush.
How can she when you beat around the bush?
Look, let's not beat around the bush.
Now, Mr. Woolley, I ain't a person to beat around the bush.
Why beat around the bush?
I won't beat around the bush.
I'm not like a lot of other guys that beat around the bush.
I wouldn't beat around the bush with that.
Right.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush.
Okay, let's not beat around the bush, kid.
Okay, so, I don't like to beat around the bush, so the drawer showed up short last night.
I won't beat around the bush.
Well, you don't beat around the bush, do you?
We're not gonna beat around the bush, and I will tell you, as Detective Fletcher and myself look at you for your reaction, the unfortunate news that your partner, Mr. Davenport, is dead.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush or pussyfoot.
Hey, if you want a favor, don't beat around the bush.
Vince, don't beat around the bush anymore, all right?